BMAX audio adventure. This is BJJ365, and today is my second podcast, actually, of the day. I did one with Mike Moore earlier, but I got to edit it down because we did it on Instagram Live. But this is the second one, and Lonnie Jones is here in the lovely office of
the international headquarters.
The international headquarters
Planet Decatur
of Brandon.com. I wish I could get Brandon.com, but
why can't you?
I think it belongs to someone. I think I could if I had the money, but somebody's got that one for sure.
I'm thinking road trip.
Yeah, I need to just look and see who it is, and let's see if we can stab.
Yeah, we could.
Stab wouldn't be the right.
I wouldn't have said that.
I mean,
negotiate,
encourage them,
conflict resolution.
Yes. So you were talking. So it's cool having Mike on this morning because he's a mindset coach. That's exactly what he does. He just works with wrestlers and jiu-jitsu players and MMA fighters on how to organize their thinking about their own game, about their training, about their fighting, their career, whatever. And he spoke this weekend in New Orleans, and it was just awesome. And I was like, man, I gotta get that guy. I want to bring him here for a seminar, like a clinic. I shouldn't really say, not even necessarily a wrestling seminar. I just want him to sit and talk to everybody. I think that would be really beneficial. And then you were just telling me that you've been, for some of your speeches that you do, you've been talking about process versus product, right? So you want to just riff on that for a little while and let's see where it goes.
Yeah. The idea behind process versus product, it comes from several different things. One, I think, is from the talent code. It talks about, are we outcome-based coaching or process-based coaching?
Okay.
Or maybe performance-based coaching. And that's the idea of, did you win the trophy, did you win the belt, or did you get better at something? And so a lot of people, when they have this product in mind, if they don't get it, they quit. So I've been thinking a lot about why we quit our marriages, why we quit companies, why we quit sports, why we quit whatever it is. And looked at some material from a guy named Matt Evans, and he's a minister in Dalton, Georgia. And then some stuff I do in my marriage seminars, we call the marriage go-round. You start with romance, and then you end up in reality. And from reality, you either decide, well, this sucks, I'm just going to deal with it. Or you decide to get out and start the romance over again. Or if you get into the process, the romance goes into reality, and then reality demands that you build some skills.
Yeah. And
the skills that you build mature you to maintain a relationship with another person or a company or a project or a sport. And so what Matt Evans does, he says you have the promise. That's one zone. Everybody's excited about this. You know, you buy a brand new gi and you buy all the rash guards that are available.
Yeah.
And then you run into your first problem. And that is, people are better than me. People are younger than me. People are stronger than me. Or I get injured or whatever. And then in that zone of problems is where you get the quit zone. Well, this is not fun. This is not my expectations, and the reality don't match. So I'm going to get out. And he said, if you'll stay through the problems, you end up with the payoff. And the payoff is what we've talked about before, the long-term, deep satisfaction that comes with putting in the work.
That only comes from putting in the work.
That only comes from putting in the work, yeah.
And the confidence that comes from there's a certain type of confidence that only comes from putting in the work. It can't be implanted any other way.
Well, there's a lesson I do, and it's entitled "From Suffering to Hope," and basically it's from Scripture, but it says that trials or tribulations produce perseverance. Perseverance produces character, and character produces hope. And the concept of hope there is an expectation or a confidence that this will work out. Mm-hmm. And unless you're doing the work, you don't have that. You don't have the perseverance, and you don't have the character to end up in the hope stage.
Sorry, my phone was ringing. I had to throw it off the desk.
Okay, I didn't know what that was.
There was some buzzing going on. But yeah, so product based thinking versus process based thinking, or would you say outcome based thinking?
You have outcome based versus performance-based or process-based.
Okay.
So, did our team win the championship this year? No. Did everybody's bench press improve? Did everybody's cardio improve? Did we get faster? Did we get stronger? Do we have that chemistry in our team? Lots of things can measure success. If you ever measure success by winning and losing, winning and losing and success and failure should never be confused with each other.
So I believe that what you're saying is true. I know in my own life that what you're saying is true. But I also know in my own life that if I've ever gone in not intending to win, then I didn't win.
That's true.
And so how do we strike a balance? Like, has anybody ever risen to the world championship level by just going out there and having a good time?
I don't think so.
Has anybody ever hit the world championship level without going, I am going to take that, and anything less is failure?
But when you say that I'm going to take that, you've already predetermined some incremental steps.
Okay.
And so, but if it's just
it implies process.
Having a belt, I guess the guys that win tournaments get it. Okay, having a belt and earning a belt are two different animals. Mm-hmm. I hunt. I'm not a super accomplished hunter, but putting in the time to trail and to scout and to set up and to learn and to whatever and kill a small Alabama deer is much better than hiring a guy to take you to Montana, sit you in a tree and run an elk by you and you shoot him. Well, I've got the product on the wall. I've got the antlers, but I'm not a hunter. I'm just a shooter. And if I learn the process of hunting, then all the little deer that I kill eventually going to end up being a big deer. Yeah,
and you derive meaning from it in that way as well, rather than just an Instagram picture.
Right. And so your work ethic, showing up, hard does not equal bad, hard equals good. And a lot of times we worry about what we're struggling with rather than how we deal with it. Mm-hmm. And this guy Matt Evans that I'm quoting, he says, if I give you a 30-pound dumbbell and say walk around with this all day, can you do that?
I mean, possibly.
Yeah,
it depends on what's on my. What's shooting me and chasing me.
It gets in the way when you go to Chick-fil-A. Yeah. It gets in the way when you're driving your car. It gets in the way when you're at Walmart. It gets in the way of doing a lot of things if you're having to carry this. Well, what if I give you a Walmart sack to carry your 30-pound dumbbell in?
Nothing that change. I'll just drop the dumbbell.
Right. It's okay. But what if I give you a backpack and say, hey, keep up with this 30-pound weight all day?
Yeah, that's a lot better.
So the what doesn't matter. It's how you manage it that matters. So when you start thinking about not quitting or persevering, we tend to focus on the problem rather than the process of dealing with the problem. Mm-hmm. And so instead of getting so focused on what's wrong, how do we do it? Scaff came in here for months and trained one arm. He had a shoulder injury. Well, some guys come in here and will train and isolate a body part and say, well, this is hurt, so I can't use it. Eric Al, tapes that leg up with duct tape. Yeah, he wears that ACL brace on. And, and then Daniel O'Brien wrestles in his socks and his sweatshirts.
Yeah.
And so people are taking different burdens, different things they want to either improve on or overcome. And instead of saying, well, I'm not this or I can't do that, it's not the what, it's the how they deal with it.
Will you tell these guys the story about the kid that ordinarily only has one hand?
Yeah, okay. I think we've talked about this before.
We may have, but I can't hear this story enough times. This is my favorite thing. I shouldn't be blowing it up. Now everybody's going to be like, oh, yeah, that was pretty good.
Okay, so...
But we'll close with this.
So I was doing this indoor rock climbing gyms and teaching an after-school class with top rope climbing, and all amateur climbers do top rope. Your anchor's at the top, and so as you climb up, the rope gets shorter. Well, to make the rope get shorter while it's attached to your climber, it's got to be attached to a belay device or a safety device. And so as the climber climbs up, you take in the slack. Well, that's a two-handed process. You pull the line that's attached to your climber, and then you pull the side of the line that runs through your belay device or your friction device, whatever it is. And so there's kids in my class, a bunch of 7th graders, and they only had one arm. And so we teach the kids to belay. They have to belay each other, and then they have to belay one of their parents. And we make a really cool object lesson about feeling out of control and worrying about other people's success. And so, I got ropes hanging everywhere, and people are trying to learn to belay, and this kid tugs on my harness. Mr. Lonnie, I need to learn to belay. And I look around, and it's this kid who only has one arm. And I said, well, Chris, people normally use two hands to belay. And he said, well, typically I just have one. And then he said, don't tell me what people with two hands can do. Tell me what I can do with the one hand I've got. It's not the what, but the how. And when we learn to change our how, the what that we're dealing with doesn't matter. Then we don't have to quit or give up.
I love that. I love it. You're the man, Lonnie.
Well, thank you very much. I enjoyed being here.
Lon Jones at bellsouth.net. And y'all don't forget about Toehold. Screenshot the podcast, tag me, tag Toehold. You'll be entered to win a free pair of flip-flops at the end of every month. And make sure you go by and check out the websites, www.brandonmc.ninja.